Let's see who's going to do the pre-intro today. Rock, paper, scissors, go.
Yes!
Today we're going to talk about van life essentials. Hi guys! How are y'all doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. As you might have seen in our last video, we have moved back into our van. And when we moved back into our van, we started talking about van life essentials. Basic items that we could not have lived without in the past 1.5 years on the road. So maybe you have got a trip planned yourself this summer in a van, or maybe you are about to start van life. We are going to share 10 or 15 items that could really be useful and make life easier for you. So let's start with
Duct tape. The most essential thing must be duct tape. If you're living in a van, I can guarantee you things will break. Whether it's the outside or the inside, usually just a piece of duct tape will do the trick. But in the same category, we have got Gorilla Glue, string, and rope. We once broke our door and we just held it together with some rope and string. And if something else breaks in the van and you can't fix it with string or duct tape, you just Gorilla Glue the hell out of it.
these ugly things. Now when you're traveling in a van, you got windows to deal with, right? So probably for most of the windows you want to make a nice cover, like a nice curtain or something. But the front of the van, with all the glass windows, it acts like a greenhouse. So when the sun is shining, it gets so warm so fast. And in winter times, in winter conditions, it feels like a freezer. So these things really come in handy. They keep the sun out and they keep the warmth in, to a certain degree at least. They're not that expensive. And as everything has multiple purposes in a van, you can also use it to sunbathe when you're sitting outside.
So when you live or travel in a van, most of the times it's either way too warm or way too cold. So we recommend layers. So in terms of bedding, we have got our summer duvet, our winter duvet, and loads of blankets. So we are prepared for the most wintry conditions. Which brings me to the next item. Our #1 off-grid heating system is a warm water bottle. Now we're not talking about expensive diesel heater systems in this video, we are talking about cheap household van life essentials. And this warm water bottle is what kept us warm all winter in Scotland. Sometimes it was so cold that even Mio used one. He would lie underneath the blanket and we would put a warm water bottle next to him so he was cozy and warm. But this only costs a few pounds. You can just boil some water, pour it in, and you're done. So when you're off-grid camping, this is a must-have. But when you're on a campsite,
we use our electrical heater, like this one, Meet R2D2. When you're on a campsite, you already paid for your electrical hookup anyway, so it makes no sense really to use a gas or diesel heater. And if it's so cold that you want to leave your heater on all night, you don't want to use a gas heater when you're sleeping because of the carbon monoxide risk, right? So this is a much safer option and it's pretty cheap. We only paid like £20 for this one.
next we're gonna talk about what we use as a van life hygiene essential. Honey, do you wanna talk about what we use as a van life hygiene essential?
Me? Of course, no biggie, no biggie. As showering every day is just simply not an option in a van, we use our baby wipes. I use this every day for my bits and tits. Is that not bits and pits?
Yeah.
I use this every day for my bits and pits, you know, to stay fresh and clean. And just take one of these, use it for my face, and I smell like baby buttocks all day long. Very useful. I think we all know what this is, right? One of those fancy cheap crates. Now we use this for multiple things, like everything that you use in a van has got multiple purposes, right? So we use this for our dirty dishes. If we're going to drive somewhere, we don't want the dishes to be flying around in the van. We use this for that. We also use this as a table. Look at this. Now it's a table. When we're sitting outside and we got our coffees or whatever. A fancy table, guys. And we also use it as a laundry basket, or when we are going shopping for groceries. Multiple purposes, really. So there's that. Very useful. And don't forget to subscribe. We are going on a massive trip soon in September. Subscribe for those awesome videos. We won't be talking about crates. And give a thumbs up, please. Thanks, guys.
Alright, picture this. You're off-grid, you're parked next to a gorgeous lake, and you're just taking in the beautiful views, and you fancy a cup of tea. Now if you don't have the power to run your electrical kettle, then you would just boil some water. Which is fine, but you're not going to do that with every cup. So, a thermos is the solution. This puppy will keep your water warm for at least 10 hours. And you can also take it with you on a hike or a picnic.
There are two items regarding electrics that we found very essential. When you're at a campsite, you've got your regular electrical cable. But when you're staying at a friend's house or something, then this is the solution. We got one for the UK and we also got one for other countries in Europe. And the second item is this power inverter. Our van does not have a big inverter installed, like 2000 watts or something. This 150 watt inverter just goes into a 12-volt socket and it does the job for us. We can charge our laptops, we can charge our phones, and it only costs like £50 or something. So this is a cheap solution if your van does not have a big inverter.
This is what we use in all our cabinets and in our drawer. It's an anti-slip mat and it helps keeping things in place so they don't slide through the cabinet. And in our cutlery drawer, it reduces the noise while driving. We also have it in this cabinet. It's where we have all our pots and pans and glasses. So as you can see, they don't slide and thus they don't break. Another cheap van life essential.
Talking about securing things, a couple of bungee cords really come in handy. Not for the smaller things, but if you've got a garage or something, then you might want to secure some boxes or, I don't know, suitcases, whatever you're carrying around with you. Really come in useful. I most of the times use them to keep Miek secured in the kitchen. Doesn't really work, to be honest, but still. Bungee cords.
Alright, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and please let us know if any of our van life essentials were helpful for you. If you have any tips for us, we would love to know. Please leave them in the comment section down below. You're never too old to learn. So we never really promoted this before, but if you're interested in more behind the scenes stuff, head over to our Patreon page. You can find a link in our banner and also in the description down below. And for now, that's it. We'll see you next week. Be awesome and stay fantastic.
Do you want to action go?
Duct tape.
So it makes no sense. It makes
Well, that don't make no sense.
sense to use a diesel heater or your gas heater. En dan?
Ik zit ook wel in een concentratie, zeg maar.
Ja. She's highly concentrated.
Duct tape. The most essential thing when you're living in a van is probably duct tape. if you live... When you're living in a van. When you are living in a van. Het is niet moeilijk.
This one works on electrics.
Let's do that again. Gorilla Glue.
When you're at a campsite, you are using the regular electricity. When you're at a camp...
Our number one heating system of grids, yes.
This is much safer. What?
Oh, and they're really cheap too.
Oh, and really cheap too.
And they're really cheap too.